I remembered. Woohoo! Hello, 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 my lovelies. Today is Monday, the 10th of August, and we are making copycat Chipotle. If you are in the chat, say hi. Let me know where you're watching from. It's always fun to figure out where we're all looking from. And if you don't know Chipotle, it is an American uh, Mexican inspired brand. I'm not going to say I don't know how authentic it is because I haven't eaten that kind of food in Mexico. So, anyway, to get us started, we are going to make some. I already have some charred corn that I put into the oven that's staying warm right now. And the next thing we're going to make, getting ready for our Chipotle chicken bowl, is we're going to make copycat Chipotle beans. And part of the reason I decided to do this is I'm going to do copycats all week this week. And part of the reason I've decided to do that is because I happen to be gluten-free, but I also happen to have the cilantro gene. So eating at a place like that is I'm very limited as to what I can have. So, because they do put cilantro in their beans, they do put cilantro in their rice, and it tastes terrible to me. So, for the longest time, I couldn't figure out why in the world anybody liked Chipotle. So now I know that was before I knew I had the cilantro gene. So I used half of this onion in my marinade, and it's got I don't know if it's a bad spot or not, but we're not taking any chances. So we're going to take the other half of that red onion and we're going to use that for our beans. Red onions tend to get me. I don't know about you. If you're somebody who cries when you chop onions, I can chop white onions all day long. The purple or red onions, those tend to give me a little more of an issue. So, shallots too. So I don't know what it is about I don't know if there's more allicin in them or what. Once they're cooked, I'm fine. Pretty much I'm fine with any onion once it's cooked. But not a huge fan of uncooked, of any kind of onions. So you'll see me a lot of times, you'll see me even things that people would normally eat raw onions on. I don't mind them sauteed, so I will saute them up. So if you're somebody who's like that, you don't mind a little onion flavor, but if it's raw, it feels like a lot of onion flavor. Saute your onions and it mellows it out to the point where it's a lot more palatable for people like me who aren't huge fans of raw onions. So, hey IT guy, if you're there, can you just let me know that I'm live? Because I'm not seeing any chatter. So that's always a little concerning when I don't see anything. Okay, if I don't hear from IT guy here in the next minute or two, a little bit of oil, throw that onion in there. If I don't hear from IT guy in the next minute or so, I'm going to have to get on my iPad and make sure that I'm actually live. So that's our red onion for our black beans. Okay. All right. No answer from IT guy. So let's make sure we are live. Looking on the iPad. I really miss IT guy for this. This was always his thing that he took care of. Dun, 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 dun. So, okay, I am live. All right. Thank you, IT guy. I like the name, IT guy 513. Nice. Okay, so we've got our onions in there, and they're going to start their little journey. And I forgot to get all my utensils, so I'm going to grab those real quick. Y'all, it's Monday. I'm still trying to get back in the swing. How about you guys? You trying to get back in the swing? Because I had a great weekend, but still. All right. So we'll use the black spoon for the black beans. Get that going there. All right. And what's next? Yes, it is working for you. So hello, Ruby. How are you, my friend? Okay. Next up, 3 cloves of garlic. Woohoo! Okay, these are 2 really flat cloves of garlic. So we're just gonna use what we've got here. So anywho, I could use garlic. I decided not to today. But ooh, these are sticky. Okay, we're gonna have a discussion about garlic. Oh good, I'm glad you're good. It's a hot one out there today. We're roasting here in the Midwest right now. Of course, the South is probably worse. So, but this is I call this living in soup season because where I live, it's super humid. So, no, we do not have storms today. Not yet. We're supposed to get some tonight. So, what you're getting may be coming our way. And if you're further north, if you're Indianapolis or north, my son gets your weather. So he's in Columbus, Ohio. So he'll get your stuff later today. Yeah, the kids always get a big kick out of it when they call. And they've got a storm or something going on, and they'll call us and they'll be like, Nana, is it stormy where you are? No, kiddo. And they're like, oh, you're lucky. Grandkids are awesome. They really are. Kids are awesome too, but. So that puts me in a dilemma when it's like later tonight, it's supposed to storm. I'm like, all right, so do I water my gardens or don't I water my gardens? Do I let turn that way down. Thought I'd be faster than this. Oh, this is some of the prep I didn't get done earlier. Like I said, I got the corn done, got everything set up, and I have a book club that I belong to, an online book club, and we meet on the second Monday of every month. So that was today. All right. Chop up this garlic real quick before my onion gets too brown. But I am going to be, IT guy and I are going to be working on a series about garlic, actually, and ways to peel it, ways to process it. Yeah, I'm not a fan either. I mean, I would imagine, I think you said, Ruby, you're about the same age I am. So we've lived through our share of tornadoes and near tornadoes and people we know who've been affected by tornadoes, which kind of freaks some people out because if you don't have tornadoes, I know they're kind of a scary thing. We know how to survive them, but we also know how dangerous, destructive, and just plain pain in the behind they can be. Come on, you. All right, there we go. All right. All right, so now we got our garlic in there. Gonna give my hands another quick rinse. And then, let's see, we're gonna throw a bay leaf in there. Chili powder, what's it say? About a half a tablespoon. So we'll give that a good shake in there. And then we've got just a little smidge of cayenne. And I mean smidge. So, hi, Stefan. Welcome in. Or I'm assuming it's Stefan. If it's different, please correct me. Your little smoked paprika, because, you know, who doesn't love a smoky flavor on your black beans? Okay. And then, okay. We got that all nice and smoky going on. Yeah. And I have done that, actually. I've watched it from a couple of miles away. So, and it was devastating to people that I knew. I know people who lost everything from tornadoes. There was what they call, I think they ended up calling it a tornado bomb or something crazy like that. Back in the early 70s, yes, I'm old, where there were 60 tornadoes between Michigan and the Alabama, Georgia area. So we're talking a lot of, they're calling for half a cup of water. I think, did I put it back? I'm going to grab something. I'm going to use a little bit of chicken bone broth instead, because why not? It's a little extra protein. It's good for you in every way. So I'm going to pour about a half a cup of that in there. And then we're going to put that on the stove. So, but yes, I just remember, because back in the 70s, we didn't have tornado drills in this part of the country. And after that night, we had tornado drills, and it was really kind of sad, because the first time we had one, the poor girl whose house was lost, one of them, she was home alone with her brother. Her mom was grocery shopping. We didn't know this was coming. I'm going to pop this on the stove. And and it came through while her mom was at the grocery, and her mom couldn't get back to them for hours. That's the part that was so sad. All right, so we got our beans going. Next, we're going to work on our rice. And we're going to go ahead and cut up this onion real quick. So, yeah, I'm sorry to hear that. I was worse. My husband actually helped me get over that phobia. I was terrified of storms when we were first together, and he loves storms. He's that guy that goes outside and loves to sit and watch the storms. And it took him about 8 years, I think, of us being together, and he finally got me to sit outside for a storm. And we also lived in a house with a tin roof. And if you've never been in a house with a tin roof, it's just absolutely lovely to sleep when you've got that, when it's raining. So he really helped me work through that phobia. Now, I still respect storms, but I'm not terrified of them anymore, which is just a nice thing. So I know that feeling. I know that pit in your stomach when that thunder's getting louder and louder. And I also know that train sound when there's a tornado, because like I said, I've been as close to a mile away seeing one. So anyway, but Mexican rice I'm going to use, and again, as I've said dozens of times, I love a cooked onion. Not a fan of the raw ones that much, so I don't mind putting a little extra onion. It called for a small one. This is probably closer to medium, but it'll be fine. So yeah, exactly. And I think that's part of why we get so scared, is because we have zero control over what the storm's going to do. So And I'd rather face a tornado any day than a flood. Floods are bleh. Our last house before we moved here, we had 3 floods in 8 years. And each one higher than the next. First time was about 2 inches in our basement. Second time we had about a foot of water. And the third time we had 4 feet. And we were the lucky ones because our next 2 neighbors had 8 feet of water in their basement. And it was such a mess. So we feel very lucky that we were okay. So and like I said, the thing about flooding is it just comes so fast. And that's what happened to us. We happened to be staying up late, which is unusual for us. Was unusual for us on a weeknight. And it was just raining really hard. And then we heard a really weird sound. And I looked out front and our whole street was underwater. And it kept rising. And so we had a newborn. He was IT guy, as a matter of fact, was a newborn at the time. And thank goodness his 2 older brothers were spending the night elsewhere. I've told this story before, so if it's a repeat for you, my apologies. But we waded out of our home in thigh-deep water. He was carrying our dog. I was carrying the baby. And we made it to safety. So our neighbors ended up being evacuated by boat. So it was crazy. And we moved away. There's not been a flood like that since. So, and we've lived in this house now for 24 years. So we joke that was the divine's way of telling us to get out of that house and move somewhere else. Because my niece moved into the house. So we know for a fact that it was a family home. And so we know for a fact that it hasn't flooded since then. So anyway, this is my least favorite way to peel garlic. And I was going to talk, like I said, I'm going to talk to you guys about that because we're going to do we're going to do a set of videos about peeling garlic, storing garlic, what to do with garlic. So if there's anything you want to know about garlic, IT guy, make sure if there's a way to make sure we save this chat, well, I guess we can always access it, but what are your struggles with garlic? Obviously me peeling it right now because it's sticking to my fingers something fierce. So, and there are ways to deal with that, one being to run it underwater. So that helps a little bit. But yeah, I think we're going to work on some of those. I'm going to look up some of the ones online that I've seen that I've never tried. So yeah, the floods are freaky, man. And the thing was, our house at one point was in a floodplain. Then they did some work, like long before we ever lived there. It was considered a floodplain, and then they took it out of the floodplain. And because they took it out of the floodplain, everything we lost, nothing was insured. So, because in case you didn't know, most insurance companies don't cover floods unless you have specific flood insurance. So when people lose everything in a flood, they lose everything in a flood, which stinks for them. So anyway, all right, next we're going to move on to this rice here. Get some oil in a pan. Sorry, that's what happens when you're live and you have dogs. My husband should be home, but not for a while yet. He gets to come home early because he had to be to work at 6 o'clock this morning. So he's going to work a 10-hour day today. He's going to stop at 4. So he might be home around. All right, I need to move this just a squidge. I forget sometimes and get my ingredients all in the way of you guys. So, ooh, my favorite food to cook? Oh, goodness. Wow, that's a big question. Funny thing is, I used to love to bake more than cook, but once I got to be gluten-free, I don't like baking as much, although we're going to do some fun baking over the holidays. Stuff that's just naturally gluten-free, and I can't wait to do some of that stuff. Wow, favorite thing to cook. I make a really good steak, to be honest. I cook the steaks. We don't grill them. I cook them on the stove, usually in cast iron. And people don't realize what an easy, I know it's expensive, but it's a nice splurge now and then. But I love to make steak and asparagus and a baked potato. It's such an easy meal to make, honestly. So that would be mine if I were picking. Yeah, that talking's not a problem unless it's, middle of the night, which ours did last night. Only one of them, and she would not stop. And shush, until I yelled at them. Once I yelled at them, they were quiet and they settled in. But I was like, my goodness, I think they miss you, IT guy. I really do. I think they're lonely in that room without you because they sleep with him most of the time. So, and for those who may not know, Stefan, I don't know if you're a regular or not, but IT guy is house sitting for my middle son, whose sister-in-law is not well. So they are visiting with her. So IT guy is out taking care of their house. So now I also, and I just made some yesterday, as a matter of fact, I make a pretty mean vegetable soup. But when I make vegetable soup, I'm going to show you. This is what I do. Ooh, turn you way down. Okay, sorry, the beans were kicking up a fuss, if you will. But this is the vat. And the reason I still have it is I made it last night, so I got it warm, and then I heated it back up today, and it's almost cool enough that I can put it into containers, and then I will, I'm going to stir my beans real quick. So I'm going to put those in containers, and then I freeze most of it. So I just pull them out as I need them, which is lovely. So, all right, so we're going to get those onions going. Turn this up just a smidge more. And we're going to add in our garlic to that. We will get to the chicken, I promise you. But the chicken's not going to take that long, so I figured I would make some of the sides with you as well, or components of the bowl. So if you do like Chipotle, what's your favorite thing to get from there? IT guy gets chicken and rice. Do you get chicken, rice, and cheese? Is it burritos? They're not very expensive at all, actually. He learned that trick, I think, in college. That he could get 2 burritos and have at least 2 meals for a very reasonable price. All right, let's get these guys open. So I always get, I actually like their chicken. I just have to be really careful about saying no cilantro and hopefully, praying that there's no cross contamination, because then, bleh, to me, anyway. And like I said, y'all like cilantro, put it in there. Put as much as you want. You know how I feel about that stuff. Now, this recipe calls for, well, several recipes that I looked at. There you go. Chicken 3-pointer. See? Yeah, my kids learned to be frugal when they were paying for their own food in college. So, actually, with IT guy for the year he was on campus, we paid for a dining hall pass too, so that he could go hang out with his friends. So, the recipes I looked at called for either a jalapeno or a serrano. If you like them, do that for your Mexican rice. This girl would prefer just good old green chilies. So, oh wow, yeah, you don't hear about Chipotle's going out of business very often. So, let's see, what have I got? I got my garlic, little cumin for the rice. And then anything else? Nope, just the tomato paste. So, calls for a couple of tablespoons. We're going to do that. If you're someone who doesn't use a lot of tomato paste, or you have a lot of recipes that you only need like a tablespoon or so, and you're not the kind of person that's going to like, I've done this before where I take tomato paste, and if it's in a can, I'll take tablespoons full and I put them on a cookie sheet, and then I throw them in a freezer and I can use them at will. But if you're not the type of person to do that, and some seasons of life I can, and some seasons of life I choose not to, then this stuff is great. Cento is good. If you have a Kroger, the Simple Truth brand is actually pretty good. So, I can smell everything. It smells so good. All right, so hour's a long way to go for Chipotle. Honestly, I'd rather go to a regular, for lack of a better term, I'd rather go to a regular Mexican restaurant if I was going to do that than go to a Chipotle. So, ooh, I thought that was thawed. It isn't. Well, I guess it is. Just kind of stuck together. So, well, and some recipes that I've seen for Mexican rice anyway use like they'll use a crushed tomato instead. But with cauliflower rice, because it doesn't absorb, I don't use it quite as much juice as I would normally, because you don't want it juicy when you're going to make your bowl. So, but we get this all stirred up and mixed in, and then I'm just going to put a drizzle or so of the stock to get some, again, more protein. The bone broth is so good for you, lots of collagen. And then now that this is all mixed up, I'm going to pop this on the stove as well and just put it on a low heat. Keep it warm. That way it won't be super juicy. And while I'm over there, I'm going to stir those black beans. So we're going to have most of the components of our bowls ready. And then I'm going to, again, stir the beans real quick. Got everything on a low heat just to get it nice and cooked. Okay, and now the star of the show. For that, we are going to preheat. Okay. Here we go. This marinade that I have, which I had to make it up ahead of time. Sorry guys, but that's wanted you to do it for at least an hour or up to overnight. I started it about lunchtime today. So the marinade, and this is from the Brown Eyed Baker. So the marinade has red onion in it, garlic, adobo sauce, and I didn't get Chipotle's and adobo. I just got their Chipotle sauce. Let's see. So it might be a little spicy. I don't know. Then some olive oil, ancho chili powder, cumin, oregano, and it called for salt and pepper. I just used pepper because, again, if you know our brand, we do not do a lot of we don't do much salt. So, because Mr. 513 is a type 1 diabetic. So, you know, it's funny. We haven't had a lot of people hanging out lately. And part of it, it's kind of disappointing because, oh, it's ready. Okay. They changed the algorithm on YouTube again. So IT guy and I need to listen to some videos and see what the scoop is. I don't mind if that marinade goes in, to be honest. So but the splashing is not pleasant. I don't fry a lot of things for that reason. I don't like the splashing oil, to be honest. But since we're trying to make it authentic, we want to go ahead and fry these puppies. So I put all those ingredients together. We blitzed it up. We added a little water. And there you go. Nice and marinated. So, oh, I forgot. This goes into my rice. Oh, I already put it in the rice. Never mind. I did it out of the box instead of out of the thing. C'est la vie, as they say. So that's got to go, what, 4 or 5 minutes per side, I think. So, yeah, it's one of those things where they want it to rest. So while it's cooking away, we're going to clean up a little bit, and we're just going to talk about how we're going to put this all together. Again, if anybody has any questions, learned something interesting recently. I got this at Costco, obviously. Anything in bulk I tend to get from there. But Christopher Ranch is family owned and operated, has been for decades. I think about 100 years. And they grow 97% of the garlic in the United States because small garlic farmers have been kind of pushed out. So I thought that was quite interesting to learn. And I am going to move a lot of this stuff so I can make room for all of the other stuff to make the bowl. Okay. I will put that stuff away. That's sometimes the hardest part. That was me, guys. That wasn't anybody else. Chill out. All right. Wipe this little bit up here. Make some room. Okay. All right. So we are good. So yeah, I'm glad to be what's the word I want? Supporting Christopher Ranch. So whenever I can. And fun fact, see, this is the kind of stuff I learn. In addition to that, when you buy garlic, one of the things about garlic is it can mold quickly. So if you see a garlic bulb and the bottom of it is scooped out, that's probably from China. Because this can withstand being in the United States, but when it ships all the way from China, if you leave that end of the bulb on the bulb, it can mold very easily. So I'm going to go do a little stir here, and then I'm going to set up to bring everything back. Okay, these beans are cooking up beautifully, as is the rice, or cauliflower rice if you want to call it. Low carb for us. My husband's not a huge rice fan anyway, so with IT guy not here, definitely cauliflower rice. And if he were here, I buy some pre-cooked rice for him so he can have real rice, if you will. All right, so got our hot plate right here. And I'm going to flip these chicken. I think they're going to be about ready to flip. Wonder where Christy did, she commented on one the other day. She just missed the other day. She had something going on. And then I saw Joan online today. I know she's got a lot going on today, so that may be why she's not here. So, alrighty, get that other side cooked and we will check it for temperature and all that good stuff. I'm going to throw on my handy dandy oven gloves. And we will start putting this beautiful thing together. Right over there so you guys can see what I'm doing. So this is some corn that I charred, if you will. And then I'm going to grab the beans. I'm going to pull out that bay leaf, as we do. And I'll toss that in the garbage right there. Just so y'all know, I do have a garbage bag right there. That's where I throw it. And then I clean it up after. All right, so the beans have cooked down really well and beautifully. I am also going to smash just a little bit of those beans to give them a little more texture. Thicken them up just a tiny bit. All right, so we've got plenty of beans left, but then we thickened up our sauce a bit. So there's that. And then I'm going to grab the rice. You know what? I'm going to leave the rice. It needs to evaporate just a little bit more. So I'm going to leave that on the stove. It'll be fine. And then get my handy dandy thermometer out. I got to tell you guys, instant read thermometer, one of the best things we ever bought. It's lovely. Oh yeah, we're not anywhere close on that one. How about the one in the middle? Still going up. We're up to 137. Let's see if we make it to 145. Actually, thighs are supposed to be 165, I think. Yeah, 165. We're still in the 140 range. Okay, that one's not ready. Nope. And this last one. Not at all. Okay. Oh, bummer. Of course, it could just be that it's the top of it. I don't know. So, this one seems done to me. I can understand the big thick ones. Yeah, that's not done. It's too soft. And I think that one's about done. This one's still soft, so I understand that one not being done. This one's pretty tough right now. Or not tough, but you know what I mean. Firm. That was the word I wanted. Firm. Not tough. So, all right. So if you're making chicken, do you fry it? Do you bake it? Do you grill it? What's your favorite way to eat chicken? Love to know. Because everybody's got their thing about how they like to eat chicken. Yep, that one's done. Okay. All right. Let's try this guy. See, it's already back down to 80 something. So I do trust it. This one's going back up. Going, going, going. Yep, made it to 165 on that one. Next, let's try this guy. Feels like it's done. We're about to find out. Hey, guess what? We had lettuce for the first time yesterday. We bought some from one of our local stands. We were missing salads so bad. And we did not get iceberg. We got one head of romaine. We didn't buy prepackaged. Paid premium for it, but didn't buy prepackaged. So, all right, let's try these guys. See how they're doing. Anybody else tried lettuce lately? Or are you guys still boycotting it? That one's got a ways to go yet. That one maybe too. Okay, those two still need to cook a bit. So we're gonna clean this off. Right there for now. Love that. That's what I like about it. It's magnetic, so I don't have to put it in a drawer somewhere. I can just put it on this thing and right there. So I'm going to take that first one. I'm going to cut it up. Actually, I'm going to let it sit for just a minute while I get everything else ready. I'm going to go get that rice real quick. The longer you can let it sit, the better. It'll be juicier. So I'm going to go ahead and bring that. Oh, they all fit. Yes. That's what I was hoping, that they would all fit. All right. So we've got our Mexican rice, our Mexican cauliflower rice, which I'm really excited about. You know what? I'm going to use a little bit bigger bowl. Yes, it's an Asian bowl, but you know what? I'm using it anyway. So I'm going to do a bed of cauliflower rice. I wish I had an oval bowl that I could do like Chipotle. And then I'm going to do some black beans. And I'm going to put some of that lovely charred corn on there. Like I said, I didn't do cilantro, but if you wanted to use cilantro, use it. If you wanted to do, come on, Karen. If you wanted something green and you don't like cilantro like me, then I would suggest, okay, I'm going to turn those around, and this takes a while to cool down, so I'm just going to turn that off. And take my knife, grab out the meat fork, cut this one up here. This will just take a second. Having a fantastic knife helps. If there's something you want to spend, there are a lot of things you can take a shortcut on in your kitchen, but one of the greatest gifts you can give yourself, or someone else, as a matter of fact, is a great set of knives. My great uncle gave me a set of knives. Those who've been here a while know I was married before, and he gave me a set of knives for my first wedding that are still usable. And that was in 1988. So those things have lasted a long time. One little cooked piece of chicken. Everything else looks great. Okay. All right. And I'm going to toss those. Nope, that one's undercooked too. Daggone it. All right. I'm going to take those little undercooked pieces. I'm going to throw those back in the pan. Actually, I think I'll just throw it all back in the pan just to be on the safe side. Okay, so undressed, as I would call it, with all the basic ingredients. There we go. I'm going to move some of this stuff out of the way so I can sit down. Namely the cutting stuff, the meat cutting stuff. Alrighty. And then for me, this is called a Mexican blend, but it is, it's just a reduced fat cheese that I happen to like a lot. I do have queso, I have cotija cheese in there, but it's really high in sodium. And I am trying to watch what I'm doing, so I'm going to sprinkle a little bit of that on. And then I'm going to add, my favorite thing to add on the top is some crema. If you wanted to do, dang it, it's not good anymore. So no crema for me. Oh, bummer. Oh well. Normally I would add some crema, or you can add sour cream, or you can add Greek yogurt. All of those things work. I have Greek yogurt. Not going to go get any. Not for this meal. This would be crema or maybe sour cream, but Greek yogurt's a little extra, if you will, for me for that. So let's push this to the side. Let's get a bite of that chicken. Oh, wow. That's really close. That's really good. All right, now, not sure what that was. Now we're gonna mix it up a little bit. Get the beans in there. Got some chicken in there. Get the whole shebang. Well, like I said, I know IT guy would rather have regular rice. But for me, this definitely would scratch the Chipotle itch, if you will. So good, y'all. So again, I'm gonna pull those. Where did I put those? Hang on. Recipes for the Chipotle chicken. That was from the Brown Eyed Baker. For the copycat green beans, it was fed by Saab, S-A-B. Cauliflower rice I kind of did on my own little creation, with green chilies instead of Chipotle or Serranos. And I mean, whatever sides you want to do. If you love Chipotle, sorry, I found one more piece that probably could go in the pan for a little bit longer. So there you have it. You can make your own Chipotle at home. I did it in, other than the corn, which I made ahead of time, I did it in about an hour. So this is going to feed us at least 2 or 3 meals. Probably 4 or 5, to be honest. I'll be eating these for lunches this week. Sorry, IT guy. I thought you were going to be home this week. This is why I picked this as Copycat Week. I figured you would enjoy it. So anyway, tomorrow's Copycat, we are going to do a Burger King Whopper. I will have a regular bun for my husband. I haven't decided if I'm going to go get a gluten-free bun for me or if I'm going to do something different and creative. So come back tomorrow for that, because I really don't know what I'm going to do. And until then, remember to eat well, to be well, and I love you guys. I'll see you tomorrow. Enjoy your food tonight. Love y'all. Bye-bye.